Craig will do that for us.
Dear Heavenly Father, God, we do thank you for this day, God. We just thank you for all the many blessings that you've given us, God. We just thank you for loving us so much. And most of all, we thank you for Jesus, our Lord and our Savior. And God, we just pray that you be with us tonight as we meet and discuss the things of this school district. I just pray for our administration and our teachers and just everyone that's employed here. And we, most of all, just lift up our students to you and just pray for all that they're doing right now and the busyness of everything. We just lift all that up to you and all the traveling that's going on here toward the end of school. And God, just looking forward to a summer break. And God, we just pray that you be with us tonight. Just help us in all the decisions we make and just the things that we talk about here this evening. God, we just thank you and we love you and we praise you. In your name we pray, amen.
Thank you. I think we have no citizen participation, correct? So we're gonna move to Coach Morowitz. He's gonna do an introduction for us.
I'd like to recognize Mario Pena. He was one of our many powerlifters this year that we had compete at all the invitationals and then the regional and state meets. Come here, Mario. We had 7 guys go to regionals and won the regional championship as a team. Mario got first and he advanced to state. He won the state championship in powerlifting this year in the 123 class. So he cruised through the season, and hate to say that, we got to keep him in line a little bit, but he did a good job cruising through the season, lost some weight. Last year he lifted in the 132s. He knew that this year if he would get down to the 123s, he had a better opportunity in the long run to win a gold medal at state. And he stuck to it and worked at it and faced a little bit of adversity at the regional meet, but then he bounced back, stayed focused, and stuck to it, and ended up winning the gold medal at state. So we're proud of Mario. So.
Yes. Congratulations. And Mario's mother is here tonight too.
Yes.
One of my former students.
Thank you. So we have a student spotlight now.
All right, Ms. Dyson, do you want to talk about your students?
Yes. Okay, so we'll have to turn on the screen over here, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit the button, that way it's more, is there a specific button you also use?
Somebody needs to go help Ms. Dyson. That knows more about this than I do.
Ms. Dyson,
Are you getting online or is it on your computer?
Ms. Dyson.
it is on my computer.
Okay. Yes, I can't help it.
Well, it's talking to you.
I just didn't wanna go unplugging the important.
Okay.
It's okay, we'll get mine to fix it tomorrow.
But we'll let that set for a minute. But UGT students are currently working on their Pursuit of Passions project. They've been working on it over the course of the entire school year. And we pulled the idea from the Texas Performance Standards website. So this is one of their many projects that they recommend for high schoolers. And so basically what the project is they selected a topic that they are passionate about, hence the Pursuit of Passions. And so the idea was for them to create a PowerPoint where they kind of dived into why they're passionate about it and get the audience hooked on the topic. And then they created a trifold board with additional information. We did not bring those tonight, just, for space and everything. But that's where they added like their research, their analysis of their topic, pictures, visual aids. And so that was the second component. And then the third component is different for every single project. They had to create a visual aid to enhance their project. Now all 3 of these pieces come together and they will be doing a Pursuit of Passion Expo May 5th from 6 to 8 for the community. We highly encourage each of you to attend. I would love to receive feedback because this is the first year that we are doing something like this. So I'm sure there might be a couple of bumps in the road, things that we could smooth out. I'm looking in the future years to have different topics. So this year it's passion. Maybe next year we might walk through the decade. We might do like a scientific exploration with science projects. And then I'm looking hopefully to rotate those throughout like the next 4 years. That way they can have goals and we can continue improving this. So like I said, I would love for you to come, but I have 3 students that are here, Connor, Casey, and Cadence, who are gonna come present their projects for you, just so that they can kind of give you a glimpse into what we've been working on and entice you to come check out everything else that we're doing. Okay, so guys, whoever's first, go ahead and come up, pull your project up, and then I'll turn the screen on so y'all aren't staring at my email. You know what you're doing? Let's see if it's HTML. Favorite moment? Okay, unplug it, we're going. Maybe just thinking about it. Okay, normally it lights up and it tells you that it's plugged in.
Ms. Dyson, follow your cord back. It may not be plugged into the TV. The one that's in your computer.
Let's see, plug it in. Does anybody have access to this computer? Because this is gonna be an Apple HD.
It should be on. It should be connected.
Well, y'all know how to help her.
Did you unplug something?
Just the one we plugged into hers.
There was an adapter on that card.
Is
There was,
one?
there should be then.
So far, none of these are an Apple adapter.
No, well, no. There was one up here.
Okay, sorry, no help. Okay, we'll see.
Said welcome, Sarah.
I guess I should have checked for an Apple adapter. I assumed that they all had one. This is what we call wait time in class. Okay, it's good.
Okay, no.
It was already being presented.
Yeah, here.
So in my project, I chose to do game animals and hunting because I've been hunting and messing around in the woods since I was little. We'll be going over what is a game animal, why am I passionate about game animals, what purpose do they serve, why would others care for them, the historical context, and what would the world be like without them. A game animal is a wild animal that you hunt for sport, food, utility, or trophy. And the most popular one, which we all know, and they're an unmentioned part of history that is very important. Why am I passionate about them? Game animals have been an interest of mine for a long time. How they influence ecosystems and what they do to survive in the world will never fail to entertain me. Every species is different, and every single game animal has an extremely unique characteristics about it. What purpose do they serve? Recreation. It's a way for people to get out of the house. Food. Well, you could just buy it. It's much cheaper to hunt it. Work. There's over somewhere. Oh, well, many different jobs have been created and based around game animals in the hunting industry. For example, game wardens, fence workers, and several other things. They're responsible for over 500,000 jobs in America alone. Why should others care for them? Farmers would care the most because if all domestic livestock were once wild animals, and even if that fact was ignored and all domestic livestock had been domesticated forever, they would still need more livestock to make up for the lack of meat that is harvested by hunters yearly. The historical context. Game animals have been hunted since around 2 million BC. They helped settlers avoid hunger when they colonized America, and Americans kept hunting them and they kept us fed when we settled the West, and when food was rationed during the World Wars. All around the world, people hunted game animals, and they used them for food and supplies for the last millions of years. The natives relied on them for the bison for tools, shelter, and food. Early humans relied on animals for clothes so they would freeze to death. What would the world be like without them? To begin with, prehistoric humans would have had to scavenge berries and non-meats to survive, which probably would have eventually resulted in human extinction. Although if we were to advance throughout history anyway, farming would strictly be involving plants, as all farm animals were once wild game. And what is the future of game animals? Game animals will continue to be hunted and used for their practical uses as long as the animals are still available. Restrictions on hunting will further be enforced for the safety of animal populations, and populations will continue to thrive. And that's the end of it.
Good evening, my name is Katie Stuke, and today I will be presenting to you my Pursuit of Passion project over the James Webb Telescope. So what exactly is the James Webb Telescope? The Webb is often compared to its predecessor, the Hubble. The Webb is very similar to the Hubble, but the Webb is far more advanced. In short, the James Webb Telescope is a moving telescope designed to capture images from our and outside of our galaxy from around 100 million years ago. Here I have some side-by-side comparison images. Now this image in particular is pretty interesting. They call this formation the Pillars of Creation. And the reason they call it that is because this is made up of all of the gas and dust that is used to form new stars. On the left we have the Hubble, and on the right we have the image taken by the James Webb Telescope. And you can see the clear contrast in quality between these two. Here on the left we have the Hubble, in the middle we have a combination of the two, and on the right we have the James Webb Telescope. Here, none of these are taken by the Hubble. These are all images taken by the James Webb Telescope, and it's a mixture of galaxies, nebulas, and stars. So what is the appeal of the James Webb Telescope? The first thing that draws people to the James Webb Telescope is the mystery of space. Considering the Webb's telescope that is exploring the depths of space we've never seen before, that's kind of a given. The second, however, is the weight. People who have been following the progress of the James Webb Telescope from the very beginning have been waiting for 30 years for its launch date. This no doubt built anticipation in many space lovers around the world. So what is the history of the James Webb Telescope? Construction began on the telescope in 2004 with NASA and their primary contract, Northrop Grumman. The location of the launch site was set in 2005 at the European Space Agency Center, Spatial Guianis, or CGS. The mirrors for the telescope were completed and met NASA's requirements by 2011. The first completion was during 2016, and it was set to launch in 2018. This was pushed back, however, due to engineers finding that a crucial sun shield was at risk of tearing. Finally, on December 25th, 2011, at 6:20 a.m. CST, the James Webb Telescope was launched into space. Now, let me tell you, this was one of the best late Christmas presents ever for me. Now, you're probably all wondering, what does it do exactly and what is it? The main things that the James Webb Telescope will attempt to do are to prove or disprove the Big Bang Theory. And there has been some recent updates on this. They're actually thinking that there wasn't a Big Bang, and that because they found that there were galaxies that before the first light that they think there was, that were far more mature than they should have been for the time. And they were trying to see if there was light before the Big Bang, if there was one, and it would also be used to better understand the formation of exoplanets and more. And this is all done through its infrared lights that are enhanced by its telescope's mirrors and transported back to us through high-frequency radios. So why is this important for you? Well, it's going to provide an understanding of temperature and chemical composition, which will help with issues relating to long-term shifts in weather patterns. This would affect our day-to-day weather and overall climate. It will allow us to see if planets orbiting other stars could support life, or galaxies within our galaxy, or planets within our galaxy do or could support life. And it could also end up answering many existential questions such as, is there life on other planets? So what is the future of the James Webb Telescope? Well, there are four main focus areas that the James Webb Telescope is trying to accomplish. And the first is what was the first light in the universe. The second is the assembly of galaxies in the early universe. The third is the birth of stars. And the fourth are planets and the origins of life. And here are my sources. I'm doing color perception. Oh. There we go. So, what is color perception? I know it's not really a common thing anybody talks about, so I broke it down. First, there's color. I mean, we all know what color is. I have a definition, but red, orange, yellow, green, blue, you know, all of that. And then perception is the act of being aware of, knowing or identifying by means of any sense. So basically, color perception would be seeing and understanding colors. How do we perceive color? Color is perceived by the wavelengths given off by a light source. When these color wavelengths hit an object, they either are absorbed or reflected off the object. The reflected color's wavelength is what our eyes perceive. So you can see the green is reflected and we see the green leaf. When all the colors reflect off, you see white light, and then when they're all absorbed, you can see black. So, you know, when people, they always say that black gets hotter, it is because it's absorbing all of the sunlight. So first, why am I passionate about color perception? To me, it's very how we are able to see so many colors. I think it's interesting that color is not universal and the same for everyone. Different people and animals see colors differently. I wanted to research this and learn about how and why this occurs. Okay, what are the factors that contribute to color perception?
contribute to the ways we perceive color is light, shadow, and position. So first I have lighting. We know that colors are formed by light wavelengths that reflect off an object. Having said that, different types of light sources produce numerous types of wavelengths. For example, inside light and outside light. So here, I was talking about how you can put on a nice black shirt inside and then you walk outside and you realize it's a dark navy or a dark green. And then shadows. A shadow is created by an object blocking the light from hitting another object. This makes the object that is shaded from the light appear darker. So here, the shade grass, and next, this light grass. Oh, I don't know how to go back. Oh wait, here we go. Position. Another factor that affects our color perception is the color's position. When two or more colors are positioned near one another, we often perceive it compared to one another rather than to its own quality. This effect is known as contrast effect. So up here I have the two gray boxes. In the black background, it seems somewhat lighter than in the white background. But then, and then when you take it away, it's the same gray. Why color perception is important to society. Color perception seems like an unnecessary thing. However, colors affect almost everything in our lives. Different cultures and styles heavily rely on color to stand out and create uniqueness from one another. So here I have a few how it affects culture. You can see the different colors and all. Not only does color lay down the basis to society's culture and style, but it also serves as an important role in individuals. Some of the things that colors can do are sway thinking, change actions, cause different emotions, recall memories, raise your blood pressure, and irritate or soothe the eyes. That's it.
Thank y'all so much for coming and presenting that. It was very interesting, and you said on May 5th,
Yes, from 6 to 8 p.m. at
and
the
it's gonna be at the,
high school cafeteria.
okay, great.
And then there will be about 12 to 14 students presenting there. And so we're gonna try to keep it like 3 to 5 minutes. They're gonna give their spiel, and then you'll be able to walk around to their personalized booths with their trifold board and their visual aid. And then that's where you will ask them questions pertaining specifically to their topic. So like, we highly encourage people that visit to pick 2 or 3 booths to go visit, ask questions, and then we're gonna have some type of form where you can get feedback for years moving forward.
That's great. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it.
I think they didn't want to stay for the whole time.
I bet they know.
I think we are going to sneak out, and I'm gonna grab all of their pictures
Thank
on
you
the way.
so much for coming, guys, we really do appreciate it.
And you said to email these to the group press?
Just email him to me and I'll leave it. He's gonna call me in the morning, he emailed and said he was sick.
No worries, we will grab them.
Thank you.
So we'll go to consent agenda. I bet everybody's already read the minutes from last meeting. Any changes?
Okay. We need to talk about the revenue. Okay, comparison of the revenue to expenditures, we're doing well. We have, actually, collected 69.67% of what we expected to, which means probably we'll be collecting more than we projected to collect. We have spent more than we projected to spend, but that was because some of our, remember I say this every time, but it's because some of our projects ran over into this year that we were going to pay from last year's budget, and that money went into fund balance. But anyway, we're doing well. Last time, I think Dr. Broswell talked about ESSER money, and that was gonna run out, and it is. But, so I checked to make sure that we have, how much we have left in ESSER money that will be carried into next budget year. we'll have $126,514.55 left when the school year starts, which, I talked with Mr. Thompson actually just this morning. He said we're in really, really good shape because we used a lot of that money. With this grant, you could supplant. Usually you cannot supplant, but with this grant, you could supplant and pay salaries that we were paying out of local funds. And so we went ahead and paid it out of ESSER money and kind of set our local money back. And if you'll remember, we added like $1.5 million or so to fund balance last year. The reason we could do that was because we were supplanting with ESSER money. So we are in really good shape. With ESSER money, we'll pay it all out and do our updates with them. And, we've already had 1 or 2 audits, I don't remember which, and we passed those, that we're doing everything right. I talked to him about our fund balance, and he said we're certainly in better shape than almost everybody, because we've done this with our ESSER money. We've been very careful to save it and put it back so that we can make our money go more years than what we said. Having said that, remember that there's several positions that we added with ESSER money that will expire with this next school year. They'll go away, and people knew that when they took those jobs. They knew they were 3-year jobs, so they will go away. Another thing to remember is that a year from last month, we will make our last payment on the high school bond, which will be, we'll need to have some kind of big celebration for that, because then at that point we'll be totally debt-free, which will also, I believe it accounts for about 16 cents of our tax rate, which will be absolutely wonderful to not only be debt-free, but have that 16 cents off. I do not know what the legislature's going to do, but I know you all are reading as I am. They're going to do something with tax relief. The House's version is different from the Senate's version, but either way, there is going to be tax relief for our taxpayers. There'll also be caps on how much, well, under one scenario, there'll be a cap on how much taxes can increase, the values can increase, which is high time they did that. But at the same time, as we talked with Mr. Thompson this morning, he cautioned us that we should also remember that it could cost us as much as $500,000 because our values are not where the state says our values should be. That'll hurt us always. If you lose $500,000, it would hurt. But we're prepared for it. We've prepared ourselves for it. So the other thing is that we have not made money on our fund balance in interest in years and years and years, and we are making interest on our fund balance. Probably will be about $200,000 this year.
Okay, so it was 70 something.
It was 70
when
for
you
the
did it.
first quarter, and so it'll be a significant earning from our fund balance. He just said we're in really, really good shape, and that's it. Questions, concerns? It's nice to be able to say we're in good shape, because there are people who don't get to say that.
Okay,
And then on taxes, what did I say, we collected, I think I wrote it down somewhere.
here's the,
Okay, since the last time we had a board meeting, we've collected $34,748.36 in taxes locally. It'll taper off. The state expects us to live off of our, local taxes for about 3 months of the year. And so we'll start getting state funds again. I ask you to approve those.
does anybody have a question on the comparison of the tax collections? If there's no questions, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
All those in favor? Six to zero. Okay, that leads us to campus updates.
We're going to Elman first.
Emily's always first.
I'm always first when it'll be short. We are busy. It's just that time of year where we are in crunch time. Everyone right now is getting ready for STAR, which will be a week from tomorrow. We are reading language arts, then we have, the next week we'll have our math and our science. So it is, everyone's at high level of anxiety. Teachers, and I don't think it's really dawning on the kids right now because they're just like, yay, we're after spring break, it's fun. But they're really working on having a lot of different themes in the classroom, trying to motivate them. Like Mrs. Phillips has held a whole service theme this week. It's just really anything to get the students excited. Like they earn tickets for different things that she's doing in the classroom for being successful. In the last little bit of the class time, they'll get to play games. So that's really been motivating for them. So I think others have jumped on board and thought that would be great, trying to motivate them, especially going into this last week getting ready. Some of our younger students are really working on wrapping up some field trips. We've got pre-K going to zoo Wednesday, I believe. Then we have second grade and below, they will all start their math testing right about the time we start our STAR testing. So they will have all that completed, so that by the time we are finished with STAR testing, then 3 through 5 can all do their math assessments. So it's just very busy, and then we're jumping right into all the older students, all have their field trips, and so it's just busy.
But good and busy.
It's good, it's good. Everyone's happy, just stressed. Just, you get so close to the finish line, you're just ready for it to, like I told the students when I walked by this morning, kind of show what you know. So just stay the course because they're really anxious. Yeah, it's good.
Thank you.
Same thing, we start our first STAR test tomorrow with 8th grade reading, and I really think they're prepared. I think that she's done a great job. We've had some schedule changes to try to just make sure that they're ready. So we have the STAR test and the math assessments. We had our Easter egg hunt where the nursing home donated 1,700 eggs. So a whole lot of eggs. There were lots of things in them this year that were not in them last year. One of the things, you live and learn. They packed some of them with these slap bracelets. Okay, fun for kids, great idea, horrible idea. They peel the plastic off the coating and then start slapping, and so then it looks like they've got these cut slices on their arms. So, they're middle school students, they're children, and you just go with it, but they did have fun. And, it's fun for them because who doesn't love a good Easter egg hunt? I said next year we need to do it with the staff because it's just fun, it's fun. So there's just lots going on. If you ever have worked at a school, there are so many different things that happen in a course of a day. And the list could just go on and on and on. We're just thankful that the positives outweigh the negatives and that every day's a good day, some days are just better. I've heard that a lot lately. So anyway, we are excited to see our SCORE results in May, and we are very hopeful that they're gonna be very, very good, so.
I'm gonna be a broken record, I'm gonna show you the broken record. So here's my personal kind of notes of how busy we were. So, the spring, anybody who's worked in school, the spring semester gets crazy. And so these are all the events that's going on in high school. This is not including any extracurricular activity. So this is just pure testing, pure just banquets and all that kind of stuff. As I was telling someone today, we have great problems. We have great problems. The problem being is we have kids that are so involved, we have to figure out how to coordinate getting them from one place to another. Someone from area track to one act play. We have to figure out how we'll coordinate the transportation, hand off that. And so we have great problems. The extracurricular activities. Currently, this week alone, we have Regional 1 Act, baseball, softball, academic UIL, and area track. Last week, we had FFA and welding included in that as well. Kids are going every which way. I think that's a great problem to have. Our kids are involved. On top of that, our teachers are working hard in those classrooms to get focused and ready for our DLC tests coming up, which are right around the corner. In addition to DLC tests, we'll also be doing the TSI test to our 10th graders, getting them ready to take those dual credit courses next year. In the office specifically, some of the activities that were great problems and activities we're focusing on right now. We currently have 5 students that are fixing to graduate in May from Ranger College with their welding certificates. That's fantastic about that. We got prom coming up next week. This week, with partnership of Coach Marwitz over there, we started the Fellowship of Bearcraft Christian Athletes, an all-branch of kind of FCA, which I think is fantastic. I love that idea, and I know him and Greg and Michael are running with that. In addition to that, we also started the Junior Preservation Society, which is a student group created by students and led by students that are going to do service work around the community. So they'll work on the preservation of the other. So I think that's a fantastic idea that came to me a month or 2 ago. I said, this is what I need to see. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. Give me bylaws, give me a breakdown how we're doing it. And they went, collaborated, 2 students, and Price, and one of our collaborated, brought it back to me. I said, run with it. Let's go with it. So they've got their first meeting coming up Thursday, Friday.
This week.
It's this week. They sent out an email to students to get interest. In addition, in the office, when I'm just looking at this year, we're starting to look at next year. We've already met with the 8th grade parents and started talking about getting their endorsements and getting them into the high school coursework. We've already had a dual credit meeting with our dual credit parents as well. And then we will be building 9th through 12th grade, 8th grade through 11th grade schedules for next year, probably in the next 2 weeks. And then we will be determining our balance, SAL, and rank orders probably next week once we get all the grades in. So a lot is going on, a lot of great things are going on. So, very busy.
I work 10 issues.
And I'm very thankful for this guy right there.
I am too.
Very much a team effort.
Yeah.
For sure.
In our Van Road, next week is our humongous week for us. We have 3 things back to back to back. On Thursday, please come join us 6 o'clock at the Peach and Melon Festival grounds. The 6th graders will perform for the first time for people. We'll do 3 songs. The 7th and 8th grade will combine those 2 classes. They're playing the same music to make a large group junior high band, and they will play 4 songs. The high school will then follow that with 5 songs. You will be totally impressed with high school. They have just come so far this year from the very first day to what we're going to present. We're playing collegiate music for most of our programs. It's just impressive. These kids are just amazing. The very next day, the 28th on Friday, the drum major and flight corps tryouts. We have 6 kids in the band hall pretty much every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday working. 5 are going very well. 1 has a broken wrist-ish kind of thing and does what she can to keep up with everybody else. So we're gonna have for sure 5 and maybe 6 on the court next year to outline and help color on halftime. They're doing a good job. They're working hard, coming from absolutely nothing. We've already got every fundamental and the tryout routine complete. And we have 2 weeks to continue to work. So proud of those kids' efforts. And 3 of them are not in band that will be next year. I love that. Just spraying kids in and getting kids involved. And then on that Sunday, the 30th, the Granbury Community Band, all my kids that do that, we have 5 kids in this meetings, they travel up there and do rehearsals once or twice a week. They will be performing a concert at Granbury High School. I don't know the time, this exact moment in time, but I'll get that, we'll get it posted on our fan page if you'd like to join Granbury and watch it. It will be very, very good.
Put it in our morning announcements, make sure.
Sure.
Jake, you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I will. Again, busy spring. We've had a lot. I think this is the first Monday and we actually have a game going on right now. This is the first Monday that I don't think we've had an out-of-town athletic event going on in the last 5 months. But anyway, it's been good. Basketball season, we had both teams qualify for the playoffs. A lot of young kids working and developing and ready to step in and take their turn. Powerlifting, mentioned that earlier, had 5 girls go to the regional powerlifting meet, had 7 boys go and won a regional championship, so that that was cool for the guys. We had 3 state qualifiers, all seniors, so it was cool for them. Joe Lill, Ruben Silva, and Mario Pena, and Mario ended up winning. And that was a neat deal because early on, he was kind of hesitant. He's like, I'm a senior, I don't want to lose weight to try to get to a different weight class, but he did it, and so he paid off well for him. Track, again, going. Last week we had district. We had a lot of kids advance to area this next week. It's on Wednesday in Rio Vista, so we've got that going on. Again, it's a lot going on, and we ask a lot of them to come early, stay late. We've got people getting up the field house at 5:30, 6 o'clock every morning, sometimes leaving at 6:30, make sure that those kids can get up there, get what they need to get done, go to tutorials, be there after school if they weren't able to get there in the morning because of tutorials, go to practices, and so, but it's good, it's fun, and it's, just gotta tell them all the time, there's a lot going on right now, we know it seems like a lot, but just one day at a time, work with an end in mind, and so, when you get to the point where it's like, okay, it's time to go, you don't feel rushed like you're behind, you have to play catch up, so, trying to preach one day at a time to them right now and stay ahead of it, and just keep on keeping on.
And if you have a CDL, to grab a bus, don't tell Coach Howitz or he'll have you because he's having to drive a lot of buses.
Oh, yeah.
As in all of our coaches and all of our staff because that we continue to struggle with transporting for all of these different activities because we're going in lots of different directions. And truly, and we're so blessed to have the activity bus that we have because we just simply have to have it. And one of these days, maybe we can save money and get another one. It has saved us a lot of time. Well, it's enabled us to get children to events that we couldn't have gotten them there. So, all right, thanks all of you for that. So,
No, I just.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa.
They all passed me, I was
I'm
earlier, but
sorry.
it's okay, it's okay. I don't talk as fast as they do, but I will do my best to try to speed this thing up. I'm excited to tell y'all we received the safety grant. We got the NOGA in the mail last week for $200,000. And so this is a different from the one that was in the paper. This is the safety grant. And for the standards, based on the standards that haven't been approved by the state yet, but they tell me it's 95% that it's, or 100% close to it, that's what the standards will be. And it was very specific, but I went ahead and did a little spreadsheet for y'all to see if, we could pick up pre-award expense on this, so we can go back to June, this past year. And I've got that separated at the top, as you can see, $77,000 that we've already spent. We can move that into this grant of the money that we're receiving. And we're expected to spend so much on elementary fencing, the upgrade to the middle school and high school because it was not in compliance. It needed to be 8 feet or anti-scaling, in order for it to be so. And we were able to use on the upcoming Raptor fees up through 25. So it was specific things that you could use it on. And so, I guess back at the end of February, they changed the due date to August, but we were ready. So I sent it in and we got it. So that's a good thing. We can get moving on some things, so. Anyway, that's all I have.
And Raptor is in force, the high school has used it, a lot of, 2 times. I'm sorry, I'm almost doing something.
This is one thing.
But if y'all have any questions on
Elementary used it one
this,
time.
Hey, don't say I did, it was like somebody else used it for me.
But Raptor is going to be a really valuable resource for us, I think,
It was this morning.
when we learn to use it. Okay.
He was trying to set it up at the high school, and it defaults to elementary. And I just happened to be in another teacher's room, and she's like, what is going on? I said, well, I don't know. We both go down to the office, and I said, I think it was an accident, but we were prepared though.
Just checking.
He was just saying, we noticed it.
It's hard not to.
I'll move to the 7 to safety audit.
Last Thursday, the high school used Raptor to do an evacuation drill. It took us 11 minutes to do the drill, and during that drill, we tested them to see if they could take attendance as we got outside and keep up with there. And we got, it was 62, we were right in that area of teachers that were able to do it. So then when we got back in, it sent us data just immediately. Mr. Chapman and I got to sit down and just analyze, and just told us who was the fastest that could take attendance, who was the slowest at 11 minutes to get it taken care of. And then, like, if I have kids missing and you have them, you can take attendance. All you gotta do is once you check yours, you put, let's just say Casey for the last name, it pops up Terrell Casey, you slide and say, checked in, and it tells you where they're at and everything, so you know who has your kid. So it's just a really great tool. We're just practicing with it with our drills right now. It's going to be great. In August, we're gonna go full blown with the whole school. Got Holden Sheenan, who introduced it to all of us as the administration. He's gonna do a, for everybody, meet and greet on August 10th. He's gonna do it via distance learning though, because he's not gonna drive in, I don't think. I'll try to get him here, but he wants to do it distance learning because he doesn't like to talk in front of people too well. But he does great when he's sitting at his computer doing the Zoom stuff. So we can get back and forth and anybody can ask questions, and we're gonna set off a drill during our August 10th days and everybody play with it. So it's gonna be just chaos in the lab and the cafeteria for a little bit while everything's beeping and all that, but then I think we'll get very comfortable with it as we start using it through the whole school year next year. I just wanna say thank you for allowing me to attend the Region 14 Safety Summit. I went on March 31st, there was 5 speakers. Real quickly, Dr. Leah Wall was a former superintendent, she is now retired. She was the superintendent of Santa Fe when the shooting happened at Santa Fe. And she went through the entire shooting, exactly what happened, how the kids did what they did, how the student body reacted, how the teachers reacted, how important it was to have plans in place. And so she said all of our plans that we had in place and all our drills we did, we were Johnny on the spot. What we didn't call for is the daddies driving up with shotguns. What we didn't call for is a media storm that happened. And what we didn't know is just the chaos afterwards. The people wanting to help but just donate in order to do it all. And so all of those things, so as we build our plans, we're gonna try to start thinking about those realms as well. But it was incredible. She had us from start to finish as she spoke. The second one was Greg Brusher. He was the district attorney. He was the assistant district attorney for the Columbine shooters. So he said I sat on the panel and I looked up stuff while they prosecuted. But he was the district attorney and he did prosecute the 2 gentlemen that shot up the school at the STEM school in STEM Academy in Highland Ranch, Colorado. One of those kids was 19 years old, so he was able to show us the interviews with that kid. His presentation was the anatomy of a shooter, and he was talking about how this whole thing became a reality because of a rumor. And that's what started the shoot. And it was all boyfriend, girlfriend, and rumor stuff. And these kids believed in it, the drug use they had, and he just gave us things to look for. And, the stuff we look for anyway, the things that just get overlooked because, kid gets checked out quite often, back and forth, and comes back and goes, comes back. When he comes back, if he has something with him, check what he's got. If he's gone out and comes back, So he kept saying he's sick and he would go home and he would bring a weapon to school, and I told him he would go home and bring a weapon to school, and then he had music class of all things, came home with a guitar case full of guns. And that's where they shot up the school, the science room. Speaker 3 was Chief Craig Miller. He's retired DISD police chief. He took the job as the Dallas Independent School District police chief for their department. And he said communication. He said small schools, communication, everybody knows everybody. Large schools, which really doesn't affect us. He said, I met the superintendent one time a year, and that's when I had my observation. And the janitor, I knew them better than I knew any of this administration. He said communications in schools are huge. And that was his whole thing. Lieutenant Paul Smith is a 20-year veteran with the Dallas Police. He's also an FBI agent. His was really good, and his was more about know your surroundings, avoid, deny, defend. He used run, hide, fight. He used avoid, deny, defend. He said 10 seconds is all I ever ask of you. 10 seconds. He said wherever you go, take 10 seconds before you do anything else. Know your exits, know where you can hide, and if nothing else, know what you can grab to fight with. And he said reached out to everybody on campuses. 10 seconds if you know where your exits are. So you give us 10 seconds, and then of course he's asked questions, where would you go, where would you go, what would you use, what would you would just work in the audience, he would be really good. And then the last speaker was Greg Reyes, and Greg Reyes is from the Texas School Safety Center, and he and his team is the driving force of why we're changing all of our emergency operation plan procedures. And his view was, the state of Texas, everybody has their own personal view. However, we change faculty around in schools every year. So if someone learns something in Stephenville, it should be the same thing that we do here. So if we change faculty, we're not training a whole lot of different things. So they want more unified emergency operation plans across the state. And so that's why this now, and then I had to sit and do all of that first little bits, and that's where those, the next two sections that will be going, driving force behind it. So they're the actual driving force behind it, and that is why in our threat assessment team meeting, we had last week on Wednesday after school, we discussed our emergency operation plan, our Raptor demonstration, we talked about our weekly door audits, our random door audits that was conducted by Ronnie Kincaid that we all talked about in here. We talked about our guardians. NIMS set a date for Wednesday, July 19th for our next meeting at 4 o'clock in the high school library. And this morning, the drug dog from Global Training Academy came and walked the parking lot, the high school gym, the ag facility, high school and middle school, checked every backpack, every jacket, every room, and found absolutely nothing. There was no alerts. And what they were looking for was a narcotics. He was a narcotic drug dog. So that's what they were actually looking for. And then we used Raptor in the high school to put it on a hold, like a soft lockdown. And that's when I accidentally soft lockdown in the elementary first, and I was told, that's elementary, slide it off, and then we went to the high school. And then when I went to the middle school with the dog, before we walked in, or once we got started, they did the announcement over the intercom, and we practiced with Raptor during the lockdown with Raptor with our teachers in the middle school, so we kind of had one under our belt. And then at the end, we slid it off, and we were using group messaging. Even our guardians, a couple of our guardians contacted us through group messaging to say, is this real? Do we need to come? And we said, no, this is a drill. And so they are watching and we're using it. So everybody's busy.
Thank you very much. I feel like, so I missed that meeting. I'm sorry. Means that the next one is July 19th?
July 19th.
Okay. I apologize. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I did not put it into my phone calendar, so.
I will send you a reminder.
Thank you. So 7.3, discussion of elementary courtyard.
Well, we talked about that briefly last time, it wasn't on the agenda. We had asked Rowdy to go and look at the courtyard at the elementary school and to just give us an estimate of how much it would cost to renovate that so that children didn't have to go outside when they change classes and go to the bathroom, whatever. And he gave us one, and I've included it. It is a rough estimate. We asked him when he did it to do it on the high side because we would always want it, not have surprises. Tonight, later on, I'm going to ask you all if you would consider letting us go out for proposals. That does not mean we would do it. It would just mean that we'd get 3 proposals. People could give us a more definite cost of what it would cost us to do this. And see where we were then. Because this is not a proposal, this is just an estimate of what it might cost. We've already identified a couple of things that we think would reduce this cost, not significantly, but reduce it. I think we certainly have the money to do it. We have completed our egg barn, as many of you were there this evening and saw how beautiful it is and functional it is. I think they've done a good job on it. We did a lot of that in-house, which saved us some money. And so it is practically finished. and the cost is finished. So, tonight, as I said later, but this is just for y'all to discuss, ask questions, knock things around. Terrell, you've taught in that area for a few years, and, one of the things that, because, if you're not familiar with it, the restrooms open out into the courtyard. So they're not real comfortable in the daytime to go to in the winter and whatever. This way, that if you just wall in those sidewalks, kids can get to the restrooms. And because of next year, Ms. Womack is planning to departmentalize, I think it is departmentalized, but anyway, and children will be moving, the second graders will be moving from class to class. You wanna talk about why you're doing it, or you want me to?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, like as in doing what? Which one of those do you want to talk?
Departmentalizing.
Well, I think that the biggest thing is that it is getting harder and harder to find teachers that want to plan for 5 or 6 subjects. And it is very time consuming I know that Mrs. Casey did that for years, and it's a lot to try and plan. We've had a lot of changes in second grade and a lot of inconsistencies. And so it would give opportunity for everyone to really hone in on their craft. It used to be where second grade was a little fluffier. It was where that you kind of repeated what they were doing in first and kind of built upon it. And it wasn't as intense as it is now because of STAR testing, because of the constant changes and the increased expectations there. So for example, now we have to, basically all grades have to take a writing test. Well, that was an area in second grade that probably wasn't the biggest focus because we were really honed in on reading and math. And so now those students have to be able to get on that computer, they have to type, they have to give text evidence. I mean, it is a rigorous writing test in multiple ways. Not only does it affect later, not just reading, but it affects other subjects as well. As like in science, they're going to have to do the same thing. They're going to have open-ended responses where they have to respond with complete sentences, restating the question, giving evidence from the text. So it's just a lot. And so this would give an opportunity for those teachers to really go to more specific training to help them and to really build better programs and also have more consistency throughout. So each student would, in essence, be receiving exactly the same instruction regardless of who their homeroom teacher was. They would all be getting the same. So a lot of schools are going to that just mainly because it
strengthens the program.
It is just, and for the students, there'll be a learning curve at the beginning, but there is even with 3rd grade, 4th grade, it's always something new, but it really makes their day go fast. It makes they enjoy getting to see the different teachers, so that part will be a positive thing. I think they'll really enjoy it. As far as the actual closing in of the courtyard, or not really closing the courtyard, but closing in where there'll be a hallway, there's just a lot of different factors besides the weather. For one, used to, if you had a lockdown, the doors were open. They were unlocked, you had a lockdown, and all the kids come in the doors are already locked. So there's no one coming to the door to lock it. So, and that's when a teacher would go to the door and, oh, here you are, come in. The door's already locked. So in 2nd grade, those students are trapped outside. If they are, anywhere else on the campus, if they had gone to the restroom, gone to get a drink, gone to the library, if they get back, they would just be, it would add a level of security where at least they would be in a hallway. They wouldn't just be outside, because right now there's no way to shut that off from, like the playground area, or it's just kind of open. So I think it would help with that. It is a one and done. It's not like we're having an extended expense every year. It's just a one-time thing. We'll get it done and it'll be weather, so, right now, second graders have to either walk all the way to the cafeteria to fill up their water bottles, or they have to go into the, third grade hallways to fill up their water bottles. So there's several different things that would, I think, enhance the overall, plus you cannot display any work. It's one of the things that second grade teachers always complain about, everybody else can display their work, but something cute on the, we've tried multiple things, it doesn't work. You can't put a bulletin board up, you can't, put student work out there, it just, within a day, it's either wet, humidity gets it, it's just wind, it's just, so, that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you.
If we go for, to send out for proposals, that would mean then that the new board would vote on whether to do this, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, whoever,
Yeah, I think that's only fair is to hold it to the new board. I came on, some things were already done. And so it'd be nice if the new board could.
no, this would just be getting ready.
So when we get to the action, part of it. Okay,
We'll make sure.
thank y'all for that. Okay, 7.4 is, word training.
Okay, I have registered, I have eight slots paid for, and we'll leave here about 3:45 on the 10th. And I'll have Suburbans to take us, and we'll all go together, and I will send out notices.
Do I get another 3 hours, even if it's the same? I still do, right? Okay.
Yep.
If I remember to put them in within 24 hours.
Did you forget, is that what it was?
No, but when you had that number on there, I was like, ugh, I didn't put this in, but it was there.
Okay, good deal. So, anyway, this is really good training, and it's the time when several boards from across the region will be there, and it's usually a really good training session, so we'll plan to go.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what's different from what we saw.
Yeah,
Some things will be voted on.
And really, Dublin, it was interesting, we got to talk to a lot of other board members around ways.
And the legislative session will be a little further along by then, we might know something. I'm telling you, it is going to be very, very interesting, what's gonna happen during this session.
They did have some really good discussions at that training, the different schools and their perception on if a 4-day work week was a good thing or not a good thing. And people are very passionate about whichever direction it is. And then the ones that are not doing it, they had a really good game plan of cutting down the total number of days in the calendar. And so maybe you didn't have a solid 4-day, every week, but they're getting closer and
They
closer.
had a hybrid
Yeah.
calendar. That's kind of what we've had. But there is a bill that's in the legislature right now that's saying that they will require 75 days of instruction, which would mean even that we would have to redo our calendar.
Okay, so what are we 173?
Well, see, not this year.
I think it's 163.5.
Yeah.
Oh, 173 was actually one of those, that was Dublin, was 173, and then Comanche, I think, was right over that.
But anyway, like I say, it's going to be a interesting last week. Hopefully it will be finished the end of May without a special session, so we'll see. But anyway, look forward to it. But all the board training hours have to be posted in this month's meeting, and so they're all posted and you're all in good shape. And then the second reading of 20, we talked about that last time. I did not reprint it because it was already way thick. Most of that was just legislative update.
So we can move on to 7.7. Okay, so let's look at salary.
Well, the salary schedule that's in here is exactly what we have right now, and I did not do anything, nor do I think it would be prudent for us to even talk about it very much, but I wanted to put it in here so it would be a reminder. We have no idea what the state is going to do. I do believe that there will be a pay increase for teachers. I think one of the things I've read is like 15,000 across the board, or something like that. Somebody else said it was gonna be more like 1,500 across the board. Some said it's going to be a percentage. I don't know what's going to happen. I do believe there'll be a fairly significant state mandated pay increase for teachers, counselors, and one of them is talking about for paraprofessionals too, that there'll be some wage increase. And even though we do pay higher than everyone else, it would mean that we would need to redo. Did talk to Mr. Thompson about that. He agreed that we really can't start really being real serious about working on budget, although we've met with all the administrators and talked about our wish list for next year and everything, and where we are on individual budgets. But our salaries is a little over 80% of our budget. So if you can't talk about salaries, you really can't talk about budget much. So until the legislature finishes, I don't think we can do very much, but we're very cognizant of it. And as soon as we know something, we will start talking about it. But right now, I just put what we presently have in here. One of the things, I'm not sure I told you all this, we're taking into our co-op, our special ed co-op, we're taking in Zephyr, Early, and Blanket. And so I was concerned that maybe, because now they'll be on our pay scale, and so I was concerned that they might come in not happy, but as it turns out, they will all get a little raise because our pay scale is better than theirs. So that turned out really, really well. So, and I think that's going to be a good thing for our co-op. These are all good, solid schools, and they're bringing gifts with them, not problems. So.
Questions? Comments? Another thing that we talked about at that training was, the need to constantly be retaining your staff and what the different districts are doing to do that, and how competitive the pay is in larger areas, and so how teachers end up going to those larger areas. And so the things that they were talking about doing, and I can't remember the terminology because you can't say certain words, but if you offer your teachers who return to you in August something.
Yeah, a sign-on bonus or a stipend, a retention stipend.
Yep, and then also, I think they said don't say bonus, and then the other thing was, the insurance, the monthly insurance.
That would be a really
And I think
wonderful
we're at
thing.
350 maybe?
Ours is at 3 right now, isn't it?
I think it's at 350, I think we did
Ours
budget
is
change
350,
that.
okay. Which is doesn't pay all of it. But I think that would be a great thing. However, we have people who don't use our insurance. If their spouse has insurance with someone else, so it wouldn't affect everyone.
Right.
But maybe, life is not fair, and, everyone's not exactly fair. So I think it would really be nice if we did address the insurance sum when we start thinking about this. One of the things I think that we've done that we're going to get even better at is providing daycare for our employees' children. And that, we started small because you have to when you're learning how to do things. And Lori has done a great job, but it's been an adjustment to take care of other people's babies. But we can do that on her campus. If the need arises, we could do it on 2 more campuses just as easily. So, not as, or maybe I shouldn't say just as easily, maybe just as difficultly. But it has been a good thing for us to do that, and we do provide it at a little lower cost. We also offer a 3-year-old program for our employees' children at a significantly reduced cost. And we have opened it to people in town on as first come, first basis almost,
Well,
but it's pretty full already, isn't it?
considering where we usually are, normally, if this time of year you had 10 students enrolled, you would think that was a lot for pre-K. We already have 24. So, we're we're just having to tell them, you're gonna have to wait until we get, I mean, it seriously may be August before we have any indication, because a lot of the ones who qualify for free pre-K don't show up until much later in the summer, and as Carol can tell you that too, sometimes it's in September, and it just
I was gonna
keeps
say,
getting, she
sometimes-
started out one year, one with like,
I had 28, my biggest
Yeah.
one, 28.
Sometimes they wait till the bus rolls by and they go, oh, a school bus. And, but we did get you some help, Carol. We did get you some help.
And I moved classrooms. I moved to a bigger room.
Yeah.
I just want us to keep those things in mind as we're
Well,
trying to
we-
be competitive with all the surrounding schools. We don't want them to lure away our,
We're working on it.
next is what?
Donations and gifts. I think. Is it? Like one?
Yes, it is. It's donations and gifts.
Okay, we have, some donations, the Miami River Band Boosters gave $2,250 for band scholarships, and that is wonderful. This is money that they raise throughout the school year. If you, when you're at the concession stand, there's always a little thing, and we usually have somebody come up in the stands and paper collection, all kinds of things, and I think this is a great, great thing. The study club gave $200 for their academic awards. Hiram Smith, attended one night play with us in Granbury and sent us a $200 check, and I have sent him a thank you note, by the way. DeLeon Tire Service did not give us money, but they put tires on our softball gator, and it was about $1,110, so, which was a wonderful gift because our gator needed tires, and so, we are very blessed, and I ask you to accept those donations.
I'll make a motion to accept the donations for April.
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor? 6-0. Okay, 8.2. So this is gonna go back to the elementary courtyard. So this is not approving the building of the courtyard, this is approving going out for bids,
For proposals.
for proposals.
Mhm.
So y'all can decide what you wanna do here. You can table it to a later time. You can make a motion in that direction, or you can make a motion to approve as is. And we obviously have to move with the motion that's set first.
So this would just be for,
Just going out for proposals. It would not be to do it. That would have to come back to the board.
So this would be a setup to be included with your summer projects, obviously that's what you're heading
Yeah.
towards. What is the, off the top of your head, the dollar amount that we'll have to do the amendment on for the ag barn?
Nothing for the ag barn, but because we, well, it's about $250,000 that y'all took out. If you look back, we're presently overspent in one area by $52,000. But we still have, $865,000 in facilities, maintenance, and operations, so it'll just be moving money around. We have money there to do it. So, we'll be fine. We'll just have, the amendment will be moving money around, not taking it out of fund balance. And of course, we wouldn't have to move money around. You can take the money to do the project at the elementary school straight from 51. That is the facilities. So. softball field and the minor things at the baseball field, and it was right like $40,000, something like that. So that's included, we've already spent that, that's why it's 52. We're in good shape.
I'll make a motion to go out for proposals on the new elementary lane trim.
Second.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
All right, 6-0. 8.3, consideration and approval of update 20.
It's not in the packet, it was in your last month's packet.
So I think, did we approve it last time?
No, you just read it last time.
So this is the second reading?
You have to read it once and then read it twice and then approve it.
Okay, so we've read it twice now. Would anybody like to make a motion for the approval of it?
I move that we approve the update 20.
I'll second it. Okay, all those for the approval of update 20? Okay. You guys are doing a really good job.
Yep.
8.4, consideration and approval of the allotment and TEKS certification 23-24.
Yes, we have to do this every year to be able to, get our funds for our textbook. It used to be a one little pager that you check things off, but, as of last year, that changed. And it's pretty detailed, as you can see. And this year, it's even a little more detailed than last year, but, we just ask that you approve it so that we can, get to our allotment funds. There's a lot of programs that we pay out of that, it's money that the state gives us.
All the principals have had.
Principals had their
All
hand
the
in it,
principals are happy with what's in there.
they gave it to me.
They're happy on that.
They're happy. I hope they're happy.
I so move that we approve the allotment of tech certification 23-24.
You have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of item 8.4 as read? 6-0. Okay. The next, we actually didn't discuss this, did we need to? The 8.5?
And then I can put it in discussion of it.
Okay.
But we can discuss now.
Yes, consideration and approval of the MOU between Tarleton and Neon.
Before we start, I want to make sure you know, this does not replace what we already do with Ranger. It is something additional that Tarleton brought to us. They piloted it with one other school or two other schools this last year, and they came in and they offered it to us. And the date for expiration was already, but they extended it for us to the 31st, or the 30th, which is 30 days in this month. So, Ms. Nellen, do you want to add anything? The two courses that we would be mainly interested in were the ag economics and the ag, introduction to ag science.
Right. So is it just the ones that were in the packet, is that the only ones that we offering?
That's the only ones they're offering.
Okay. And we're not interested in the algebra because it's already in place. With Miss Lloyd, she does dual credit from, it's just something that they're offering to try to help schools with the, dual credit, and they will even, present the, curriculum and have a little training, and so it's really a good deal.
It was confusing to me about somebody there is going to teach it, and we have somebody, it's distant, and somebody here is gonna proctor the class.
Basically, they will have the curriculum and they'll teach too, along with the people from Tarleton. and they'll have a training in the summer, to help the teacher that's gonna do it. They'll get a $500 stipend. And it's really a good bargain for the kids, but we have to do the MOU regardless of whether we enter the program or not. And so if we decide to do it, we couldn't do it because we haven't signed the MOU, but if we decide not to do it, we don't have to do it. It's not gonna matter that if we do it or not. It's just 2 courses and it's in CTE. And right now, Ben, we don't have a lot of, CTE dual credit.
No, it's only 4.
Right, so, it's,
Your welding is actually a big one.
the welding is all that right now.
And they're not offering welding, they're offering ag.
Yeah, so it could be a good thing if you have the students that are interested in.
Would there be
pursuing-
students that plan to go to Tarleton that would rather do distance, do the dual credit through Tarleton than Ranger?
Possibly,
What do you think, Catherine?
I would, I think this is just an additional school that we're using. That typically, the 4 courses they're offering, 2 of them we already offer, Tarleton's gonna accept those credits anyway. I would encourage you to utilize our existing structure then because we have a face-to-face teacher. And so they can get that support, because we see the ones that take the dual credit often come back for tutoring or tutorial time to get support with things they don't understand with the dual credits. And so the 2 courses that we don't currently offer are something that interests us. We'd have to look how we roll those in. Obviously, we're not planning at this point for them because it's not approved. But anytime we can offer and expand our catalog of dual credit, I think it's worth looking at, exploring, and putting it out there for kids. Would they lean towards taking a dual credit through Tarleton? They might. That would be a personal preference.
Well, they'll transfer easily.
Yeah.
So the 2 ag ones, are they year-long or semester?
They would be year-long courses. They would probably be semester courses, but
Semester.
ultimately be year-long course. I don't know if the economics would be, it might be just a semester course, if it's a semester course in high school, but.
they're both year long.
They're both year-long.
Yeah, we asked them that when they came in. I think it's just an addition, something additional that we can offer to our students, and anytime we can partner with Tarleton, that's a good thing, because they are good partners for us, they support us in a lot of ways.
Cost structure about the same with Tarleton versus Ranger,
On these 2 courses.
on those 2?
Mhm.
I make a motion to approve the MOU between Tarleton and the LSU.
One second.
Okay. We have a motion by Rachel and a second by Terrell. All those in favor of 8.5? 6 to 0. I'm gonna ignore this line, right? This double line? That's not for anything, right? Okay.
I'm not looking on the same one you're looking on, but I'll look at it.
Okay, so now, we have personnel. And I think, do you have contracts other than what is on here, by Craig? Do you have teacher contracts tonight, or is it just what Craig has put on here?
No, there's all the teachers.
All of them are on here, okay. Okay, so typically, what would happen?
These are all the recommendations from the principals.
You wanna go in closed session for this?
Well, did you want to go into closed session, is the question?
Somebody would go,
That's an option.
you need to or not?
I wanna go into closed session for something else for sure, but we need to talk
If
about
it's
this.
not on the agenda, we can't. Is it on the agenda?
That's
It's
regarding
safety,
safety.
yes, it can be. So you wanna do them all at the same time? Could do discussion for both safety and, contracts together, or we can do contracts now, however you wanna do it, but somebody has to make a motion.
Did you make a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to go into the closed session.
A second?
Second.
So,
Do you want the principals to hang around?
yep, if you'll stick around, that would be great.
We're gonna go in this closed session at 8:27.
Okay. So we are at 9.1, consideration and approval of professional contracts for the 23-24 school year. The lists are presented. We have them from Review on ISD, 3 campuses, as well as the list from the co-op.
Do we do the campuses separately?
I think that we can do all of them together. It's listed this way, or you can separate them out however you want to do it, but we've got it in one item on the
Don't you
sheet.
have to?
It won't matter.
That's true, I always forget about that.
So if someone wants to make a motion at this point to approve,
You can't make that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the professional contracts for the 23-24 school year as presented.
do we have a second?
I don't know what I always raise my hand on that.
Thank you, swear yourself in there.
I'll say
Okay, so we have, recommendation, or, a recommendation by Terrell and a second by Dr. Boswell to approve the professional contracts for the campus presented by the campus administrators as well as the community special services director. All those in favor? And those abstaining, so it's 5 and 1 abstaining?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we only have one item on the list, and I would like to, offer the special